Psalm 24 begins with these words: The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein. Now, a lot of people understand this to mean that God owns all the beautiful creation and everything in nature: the skies, the mountains, the trees, the oceans, and all the wildlife. But when it comes to material things, well, that's ours. We all get pretty possessive, don't we? Well, that's something to really think about, and we'll think about that in just a moment. But first of all, let me just say hello and thank you for joining me once again for another Heart to Heart talk. I'm John Kuert, pastor at Alpha Assembly in Clarion, Pennsylvania. We're located at 499 Greenville Pike. If any of you are watching this that are attending the ALF festival, we would invite you to come on Sunday, and even stop by our booth on Friday at the craft and see us in the parade too. Anyway, let's get back to the scripture here today. So, when it comes to things like money or personal possessions or houses or land, well, that's our stuff. We all get pretty possessive when it comes to these things. God can own the mountains and the prairies and the oceans and all of nature and that, but these things are ours. But you know what? Ownership really is a farce. We really don't own anything. It all belongs to God. Legally, your name might be on your car title, or the deed to your house, or your bank account, but technically, it's really God who is the owner. Here's what Paul said to the Colossians when he wrote to them, chapter 1. The Son is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. And he is before all things. And in him all things hold together. And he is the head of the body, the church. He's the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the preeminence or the supremacy. For God was pleased to have all his fullness dwell in him. So you see, he created us. And everything that we have, either directly or indirectly, he lends to us for a few short years, and then we must give it up. Remember the saying, you can't take it with you? Well, that's true. You cannot take it with you. It all belongs to him. He's the owner of this marvelous creation, but he's the owner right down to the most infinite detail of all of our lives. So I trust that you realize that we need to remember to have the right attitude about ownership and recognize that it all belongs to him, and use our resources as good stewards for the spread of the gospel and for God's glory. That's a difficult thing to do, but I have found that as we realize that, and as we give freely of what we have, give our tithes and our offerings, which belong to the Lord, and he will bless us even more. There's a scripture in Luke 6:38 that says, "Give unto him, give and it shall be met, good, given back to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over." So it pays to be generous with God, because he owns it all. Well, I hope that touches you and challenges you. Whatever church you might be in, that you will be a faithful steward. And even beyond your church, there are many, many ministries that you can be involved in. And there are so many great needs in our world today. So look around, keep your eyes open, look for how you can give some of God's money to God's interests, and you will be rewarded for that, not only here in this life, but throughout all eternity. Well, God bless you. That's all I have for today. Thank you for joining me. And I hope and pray that you will stop by and see us sometime. Alpha Assembly there in Clarion, Pennsylvania. And again, I invite you to stop by our booth across from the courthouse, pick up a tote bag, and some literature and a bottle of water. We're giving them away. Well, God bless. Have a great day, and we will see you again soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.